Let's work with linear equations. Here's an example, and by definition, a linear equation is an equation whose graph is a line. As you see in this picture here, we have the equation y equals 3x plus 1, which does graph to a line, with a couple of points indicated as 0, 1 and 1, 4, as 2 points that happen to be on the line y equals 3x plus 1. Here we're asked to graph the equation y equals x minus 5. What we'll go ahead and do is to make a function table. I'll go ahead and write the function rule, and then I'll go ahead and find for each value of x that goes in, we'll see what value of y comes out. If I put in the value 2 for x, 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So I have the point 2, negative 3 as being on this line. We'll go ahead and select another value of x. If we selected 0 for x, 0 minus 5 gives us negative 5. And therefore the value of y would be negative 5. I'll do one more point here. If I selected 5 for x, what would come out is 0 for y. What I do here is I list the ordered pairs before plotting them on my coordinate plane. And I'll do that here. The next step after listing my ordered pairs is to go ahead and plot them onto my graph. And then so if I go for 2, negative 3, which is my first point, we got it right about there. Got another point at 0, negative 5. And then we have another point at 5, 0. And remember, our coordinates go x and y. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a line through those 3 points. And that's how it is that I'll graph the equation y equals x minus 5. I'll also be sure to label my line. And there's that line. Y equals x minus 5. I've graphed the equation by making that function table, plotting my points, and then connecting them with the line and remembering to label that line. Remember, it's the x-axis here and the y-axis there. Here I'm asked to graph the equation y equals 2 minus x. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and set up my function table. I get to choose my values of x. And then in this case, I'm just going to choose 0, 1, and then 2 for x. And each of these will come out with one value for y. 2 minus 0 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1, and 2 minus 2 is 0. And what I did is I plugged in those values right there. 2 minus 0, 2. 2 minus 1, 1. And 2 minus 2, 0. Next, I'm going to list my ordered pairs as being 0, 2, 1, 1, and 2, 0. After that, I'm going to go ahead and plot those ordered pairs onto my graph, remembering it goes x and then y. And then so I've got 0 and 2. So it's right there on the y-axis. Next I have 1 and 1, and finally I have 2 and 0. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a line through those points. If I could, I'd use a ruler. However, I can't, so I'm going to draw it the best I can, and I'm going to remember to label my line. And there you see, I've graphed that equation, y equals 2 minus x. Alright, it's time for you to try. Let's graph the equation y equals 2x plus 1. Go ahead and copy down the function table. And finish the function table, remembering to list the ordered pairs. Hit pause. For that first value, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and we have 7 for that final value. Did you remember to list the ordered pairs? Next, you'll go ahead and plot those ordered pairs onto the coordinate plane, and remember to connect them to draw a line back through them, and label your line y equals 2x plus 1. And plotting those points, you'd get 1, 3. Remember, it goes x and y. You get 2, then 5. And then you'd also get 3, then 7. And then you would go ahead and connect those with that line. Remember to extend that line in either direction with those arrows there. And then also remember to label that line. That's the line y equals 2x plus 1. And that's the graph for that linear equation. Here's another one for you to try. And I did write down some of those values for x. Go ahead and find the value for y. That would go with that value for x. And list those ordered pairs. Hit pause. Did you come up with 1 for that first one there? 2 times 3 is 6, minus 3 is 3, so we would also have the point 3, 3. And finally, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 3 is negative 3. So we've got the point 0, negative 3. Go ahead and plot those on your coordinate plane, and remember to connect them with a line and to label that line. Your graph should look something like this, and then we'll draw a line through that there. Remember to extend that line, and ideally you labeled it. Hopefully you used a ruler. That's the equation y equals 2x minus 3. Okay, let's review. To graph the equation, this equation is x equals y minus 5. You create a function table. Remember to list that function rule. And after you list the function rule, you get to choose values of x that will correspond to values of y. If we chose x equals 0, what minus 5 equals 0? Right, 5. If we chose x equals 1, what minus 5 equals 1? 6. So as you see here, 6 minus 5 equals 1. And then if we chose, let's choose value of x equaling, I don't know, negative 4. What minus 5 equals negative 4? We would have 1. The next thing we do, if you remember, is we do what? Right, list the ordered pairs. So I'll take 0, 5 here, take 1, 6 here, and I'll take negative 4, 1. Using these points, we plot them on a coordinate plane. So I moved it around a little bit so I can get my coordinate plane. Remember, it goes x, then y. We've got the x-axis going from left to right. Y-axis set is going up and down vertically. He's got 0, 5, we got 1 and 6, and we've got negative 4 and 1. And as you can see, those there, they fall on a line. Remember that last thing that we do is that we go ahead and carefully draw that line using that ruler, and then we go ahead and make sure to label that. That's x equals y minus 5. And that's there is how you graph linear equations.